Miraculous morning prayer for divine peace, restoration, and prophetic answers revealed in 3 days. Mary stood at the chapel, its ancient stones whispering tales of faith and hope. Today, she called upon the spirits of the faithful with a proclamation that was as bold as it was fervent. Join me for a miraculous morning prayer. Divine peace, restoration, and prophetic answers await us in 3 days. Her voice sparked a fire in the hearts of the villagers like a match against dry tinder. The sun rose higher, casting rays that felt like heavenly fingers brushing against the gathered souls. Even the birds paused in their song, captivated by the urgency in Mary's plea. Inside her, a blend of desperation and faith swirled, a kaleidoscope of emotions. She could almost hear the echo of divine promises as she spoke. Together, let us invoke St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless causes, for my dear David. The air crackled with energy, as if the very heavens matched her desire for divine intervention. People flocked to the chapel in droves. Mothers brought their little ones. Husbands clutched their wives' hands, and even the doubters appeared. Drawn by curiosity and a flicker of hope, would they witness the unimaginable? Could a miracle unfold before their eyes? As murmurs of excitement transformed into earnest prayers, a strange warmth swept through the chapel. A gust of wind rustled the prayer flags fluttering by the door, whispering promises of healing. Mary felt her heart surge with a fervor she hadn't known she still possessed. It was a wildfire of optimism, igniting within her, crackling loudly against the backdrop of impending despair. Hours passed, and many began to voice their hesitations. What if your prayers go unanswered? What if this is all for naught? These whispers danced around the room, sowing seeds of doubt. Yet arms entwined in prayer, the collective conviction stood strong, until Mr. Thompson rose from the back. His voice trembled with age, but rang clear with resolute faith. I remember when we prayed together for little Lucy. She was healed by God's grace. True miracles are born from unwavering love. His words pulsed through the room, a resounding truth that struck chords deep within the hearts present. Mary held on to that spark, that flicker of hope. Let us cling to it, she urged, drawing strength from every face illuminated by shared faith. In that moment, hope seemed tangible, a glimmering thread woven into their hearts. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As dawn broke on the 3rd day, excitement crackled in the atmosphere. Villagers filled the chapel, their eyes wide with anticipation and pounding hearts. Today is the day, Mary whispered to herself, a prayerful whisper brimming with conviction. The sun seemed to rise with them, illuminating the windows with colors from above, and for a moment it felt like the heavens themselves were smiling. Suddenly, a rustle echoed through the doorway. The chapel froze. A collective breath hitched. Could this be the sign they longed for? As they joined in prayer, moment by moment, the air thickened with spiritual energy. Something miraculous was brewing. Would they witness the divine? Just as the congregation began to sense their resolve solidifying, a voice shattered the fervent moment. What if none of this works? A skeptic murmured, stilling their hearts. Doubt slithered through, casting shadows on their hope. Would the miracle they sought indeed come to fruition? The doubt lingered, its icy fingers gripping the hearts of many. However, among the throng of anxious faces, Mary stood resolute. She could feel the weight of faith pressing against the walls of the chapel, mingling with the frigid doubt that now filled the air. Taking a deep breath, she gathered her courage, rooted in her belief that hope lay in the unseen. "Brothers and sisters," she began, her voice ringing clear and unwavering, "let us not waver in our faith. We stand here today not just in anticipation of what we desire, but to celebrate the promise that God is always with us. He hears our prayers." Her words cut through the clouds of uncertainty. Mrs. Johnson, a once stalwart believer who's battled her own demons of doubt, nodded slowly. "Mary is right," she said, her voice steady now. "We cannot allow fear to dictate our dreams. Look around. Do you see the light that shines amongst us?" As her voice stirred the hearts of many, the skepticism in the room began to dissolve like morning mist. Eyes sparkled with renewed determination, and shoulders straightened beneath the weight of their collective faith. Without needing to speak, they reached for each other, hands clasping in solidarity. The power of prayer reverberated like a heartbeat, echoing through the ancient stones of the chapel. With every plea whispered, every intention set forth, the air grew lighter, infused with hope and divine possibility. Mary closed her eyes, opening her heart to the flow of prayers rising like incense. She envisioned David's face, his spirit brightening as the threads of community and faith woven through prayers enveloped him. "St. Jude, we call upon your intercession. Guide our desires straight to the heart of the Father." It was a moment pregnant with expectation. The villagers joined her, their voices rising in a symphony of devotion, melding into one glorious sound that seemed to touch the very heavens. It was a sacred crescendo, a vivid testament that they believed in something greater. Outside, the sun broke free from the last vestiges of night, spilling radiant beams into the chapel. As if in response to their collective prayers, the beams danced across the faces of those assembled, igniting joy in their hearts, bringing a sense of warmth that melted away last remnants of hesitance. Suddenly, the chapel doors swung open wide. A figure appeared against the blinding light, a silhouette framed by divine radiance. Gasps rippled through the congregation. Was this the manifestation they had prayed for? Excitement and fear twisted together in a kaleidoscope of emotions. "Who goes there?" Mary called, her heart pounding like a drum, both hopeful and anxious. "Peace be with you." A voice resonated gently, but with undeniable authority. The figure stepped forward, revealing a familiar face. David, rejuvenated, his spirit luminous with the kind of joy that only comes from a true deliverance. Tears spilled from Mary's eyes as she ran toward him, the crowd roaring with shock and awe. This was the miracle they had longed for, but in her heart lingered a deeper sense. What greater wonders might now unfold? The moment hung in the air like the first notes of a symphony waiting to be played. This was just the beginning. What paths would their faith lead them down next? Would others step forth from the shadows and claim the miracles awaiting them? The chapel buzzed with energy, an intoxicating blend of relief and joy palpable in the air. David stood before them, transformed by hope, and yet the momentary awe held whispers of reverberating uncertainty. People blinked in disbelief, unable to shake the notion that maybe, just maybe, something even greater awaited. Mary brushed tears from her cheeks and turned to the crowd, her heart beating like the wings of agitated birds. "Can we not feel the presence of God in this place?" she exclaimed, her voice lifting off the walls. "Look at the miracle before us. Our prayers have been answered, but this is not the end. It is only the beginning." The congregation murmured in agreement, the disbelief that once clouded them now replaced with a gleaming light of faith. They gathered closer, encircling David, as if the warmth of their love could further wrap around him like a divine embrace. "How do you feel, David?" someone called out from the rear of the chapel. He beamed, the corners of his mouth stretching wide. "I feel whole. It's as if I've been reborn. I didn't just return. I'm renewed." His words echoed like the ringing of church bells, vibrant and full of life. God's love is the healer, Mary continued, "and we are witnesses to his grace. Whatever paths we walk now, let us do so with faith like a shield. There are battles ahead, but we do not walk alone." As he spoke, a hush fell over the crowd. This was a moment to hold in their hearts, a chance to reflect on their own struggles and the power of their combined faith. With every whisper shared, the air thickened with a divine charge, inviting them to make new proclamations over their lives. Suddenly, Mrs. Johnson stepped forward. "David, your return is a beacon. Can we share our own prayers for healing, for hope, right here, right now?" Her words stirred the hearts of others. One by one they poured forth their burdens, pleading for healing for the sick, peace for the troubled, and strength for the weary. The chapel was alive now, each voice intertwining, barely distinguishable from one another, merging into a powerful river flowing toward the heavens. Mary could hardly contain her emotions as she raised her hands, feeling as if the very presence of God enveloped them. "Heavenly Father," she began, "we ask for healing beyond our vision, for restoration in souls weary from battle. Let us stand not just as individuals, but as a united body, ready to embrace the prophetic answers you have for us." An electric energy filled the room as they prayed together, and an unwavering faith began to rise. Though doubts may still linger in the corners of minds, the Spirit in that chapel lifted them higher. It was then that a new voice entered the mix, soft but clear, like a gentle breeze cutting through the din. "I have a message." A woman's voice broke through, steady and serene. Everyone turned as they noticed newcomer stepping forward, eyes aflame with wisdom. "What message?" David asked, intrigued. The air shuddered with anticipation, an essence of suspense that gripped their hearts. As she opened her lips to speak, the congregation leaned in. Would this message reveal another miracle? God has plans for us, but we must be ready to embrace them. She paused, her eyes surveying the room. Awash in divine mystery, their hearts quickened at the prospect of what was to come, what revelation awaited them, what challenges lay ahead. This moment held the key to an unfolding journey, but would they be prepared to step through the door that was opening before them? The words hung in the air like incense, swirling with anticipation. The woman's gaze shifted, settling on each face before her, and it felt as if she was searching not just for eyes, but for hearts eager to listen. "God," she continued, her voice laced with a profound reverence, "is here among us. He is whispering to each one of you that this moment is sacred. He calls us into a deeper understanding of his love. We must not only believe in his goodness, but live it out. Are you ready to receive it?" A gentle murmur of agreement swept through the crowd, hearts thumping in unison like a great drum, echoing the rhythm of hope. David stood with a newfound fire, his spirit dancing in the light of collective faith. Beside him, Mary felt her chest swell with an indescribable longing. She yearned for more of God, more of the miracles, more of the moments when heaven kissed earth. Then the woman captured their attention again, her voice lifting them higher. "In 3 days, mark my words, healing will come. Clarity will descend upon your lives, but we must prepare ourselves. Prayer isn't simply words spoken. It is a lifeline connecting us to divine purpose." The atmosphere electrified, a vibrant thread weaving its way through the hearts gathered. Could it really be so simple? Their minds danced with the possibilities that prayer could unlock. What truths lay in store just beyond their reach, waiting for their readiness to unveil them? Encouraged by her words, the congregation leaned into the call. "Let us take these next 3 days to fast and pray. Let us seek God with the intent of truly knowing him." Mary's voice rang out again, filled with passion. A ripple of agreement surged back, one that felt like a collective heart beating as one. Some faced the front, their hands raised, palms open to receive. Others bowed their heads, whispering promises to invest their hearts in prayer. As they began to pray, one by one, their words infused the room with deep hope and yearning. David knelt, feeling a gentle burden lifted from his shoulders. God, I am ready. I am open to your healing, not just for myself, but for all those you love. There was a weight of sincerity in his plea, and he felt a soft warmth spreading in response. Gradually, those burdens, hidden worries, aching fears, and unanswered questions found their way to the surface. Each prayer became a release, a pouring out of souls desperate for peace. The woman stood nearby, watching, her heart swelling as lives interwove like a beautiful tapestry. And then something shifted. They felt it, a movement of purpose, like a whisper from God traveling through the air. Some wept softly, while others laughed, caught up in an unexpected joy. "Let us gather again at dawn," the woman urged. "Prayer will unleash chains. You'll encounter the power of his presence. Expect transformation." With resolve, they agreed. The excitement hummed in the air, a tangible connection binding them together. As they departed that evening, the night sky mirroring their hopes, a sense of divine expectation lingered. Each person carried a glowing ember of faith within them. What would these next 3 days reveal? What consequences lay ahead as they prepared to seek him? Anticipation hung thick, but so did the mystery of the unknown. Would they be ready when the answers came? Would they recognize the miracles unfolding before them in the days ahead? Questions lingered, like the closing notes of a hymn, enticing them to return and discover what God had planned next in their miraculous journey. The first light of dawn crept gently over the horizon, casting a soft glow that enveloped the sleepy landscape. Mary stirred in her bed, the call to prayer echoing in her heart. With each breath, she felt the lingering weight of yesterday's words. Expect transformation. Something ignited within her, urging her to rise. As she stepped outside, the world appeared new, as if it had shed a heavy cloak during the night. Dew kissed the grass beneath her feet, glistening like tiny diamonds in the morning sun. Birds chirped a sweet melody, welcoming the day with praise. She took a moment to breathe deeply, soaking in the beauty around her. God was speaking, not just through the woman's words, but through the gentle symphony of creation. Meanwhile, David was already at the gathering place, kneeling on the cool earth with his palms pressed together. His heart pulsed with expectation. "God, this is our day," he murmured. He closed his eyes, envisioning the healing they all sought. Would it wash over him like a cleansing wave? Would it touch others in ways that he couldn't even imagine? As more people arrived, a palpable energy began to fill the air. The atmosphere crackled with faith as they formed a circle, interlocking hands, creating a sacred bond. Each person wore a look of anticipation, eyes sparkling with hope. It was clear. They were all here for more than just themselves. They were here for each other. The woman stood at the center, her expression radiant. "Today, we lift our voices as a chorus of faith. We will pray and we will listen. Open your hearts wide and invite his presence." With those words, she led them in prayer, her voice steady, weaving a tapestry of requests and praises to God. Each person added their own cry, their own whispers of desire. As the prayers soared, Mary felt a warmth enveloping her heart. It was an embrace from the divine, assuring her that she was heard. The worship transitioned into silence, a stillness where they waited, expectant and alert. In that silence, the presence of God hovered, heavy and comforting. Then, like ripples across water, whispers began to stir in the group. Someone spoke of a vision of healing. Another shared how burdens were lifting, worries dissolving into the air. A third person burst forth, "I can feel it! Freedom is on the horizon!" Excitement began to swell within the circle, and they all nodded, hearts ignited by a shared faith on fire. "Let us declare it together," the woman instructed, her voice rising. Healing, restoration, guidance, proclamation over our lives. And as they spoke, their voices grew louder, more powerful. Each word rang like the sound of trumpets, piercing the heaviness of doubt, bold and unwavering. Just then, a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, carrying a scent of wildflowers, fresh and sweet. It felt like a divine invitation. "Open your eyes," the woman encouraged. "Look around and see what God is doing." In that moment, Mary turned to David, their eyes locking in shared wonder. She could see a light beginning to appear, swirling softly above them like soft, golden mist. It hovered, pulsing gently, as if responding to their prayers. But as amazing as it was, a question emerged in Mary's heart. What were they truly about to witness? What deeper truths lay hidden beneath the surface of their prayers? As the golden mist swirled, it beckoned and whispered secrets they had yet to comprehend. The promise of revelation loomed. What would unfold in these sacred hours ahead? Would they be prepared for the truth that lay waiting? The answers, shrouded in divine mystery, danced on the edge of experience. What awaited them next? The golden mist hung softly in the air, shimmering like a veil between heaven and earth. The gathered souls felt the weight of anticipation pressing down upon them, a tangible energy that stirred their spirits. David glanced at Mary, his heart racing. This morning was unlike any other, a moment teetering on the edge of eternity. "Can you feel it?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Mary nodded, her heart swelling with hope. It was as if the very fabric of that place had shifted, drawing them closer to the mysterious workings of God. As the woman at the center continued to guide them, she spoke with conviction. "In this holy moment, let us open our hearts fully. Let us lay bare our souls and invite God's light to shine into the darkest corners of our lives." Her words wrapped around them like a warm blanket, soothing and encouraging. With hands clasped and eyes closed, they began to pour out their praises once more. Each person took a turn, expressing gratitude for the blessings that had already unfolded, the small miracles that often went unnoticed. A child's laughter, a farmer's harvest, the gentle caress of a loved one's hand, each a testament to God's faithfulness. Tears welled up in Mary's eyes as she reflected on her own journey. The struggles, the doubts, the moments of despair, they all felt lighter now. Hope began to weave through her very being, its threads creating a tapestry of possibility. She envisioned the golden mist enveloping her, whispering promises of healing, restoration, and new beginnings. The murmurs of faith grew stronger, flowing like a river through the group. "Comfort, healing, courage," they declared, their voices rising in unity. The sound echoed against the trees, a chorus that seemed to reach heaven itself. The wind picked up again, wrapping around them as if urging them on, lifting their spirits higher. Suddenly, David felt a shift, a stirring in his soul. "I feel called to share something," he said, his voice quivering with emotion. As he spoke, he shared a vision he had just received, a vivid image of a tree bursting forth with luscious fruit, nourished by the faithful prayers of a community. Its branches stretched wide, inviting everyone to partake. "This tree represents us," he continued, his eyes glistening. "We are meant to bear fruit that nourishes others. Our faith doesn't end with us. It extends into the world. God has called us to be agents of His grace." A hush fell over the circle as they digested David's words. In that moment, Mary glanced at a neighboring tree, its leaves fluttering like whispering secrets. Could it be? Each leaf stood for a prayer, each branch an answered longing. She believed the divine message was clear. They were on the verge of breakthrough. The woman stepped forward, her face radiant with light. "Yes, we are here to partake in the harvest, but first we must surrender our fears." With that plea, she invited each member to share a personal challenge, a weight they wished to lay down. One by one, they opened up, the air thick with vulnerability and trust. As they did, the mist above them began to dance, swirling with a brilliance that illuminated the gathering. Mary could hardly breathe. The presence of God was undeniable. She felt energy coursing through her as they prayed, casting away worries, fears intertwining with faith. But as this beautiful exchange unfolded, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that something significant awaited, a divine secret ready to be unveiled. What blessing did God have in store for them? How would their intertwined prayers lead to a purpose greater than they could fathom? In that sacred moment of vulnerability, she realized they were about to witness something extraordinary, something that would change their hearts and lives forever. What revelation was preparing to burst forth in the light of this divine morning? A hush lingered in the air, thick with the sacred energy of shared burdens and whispered prayers. The golden mist began to shift, swirling gently around the group, intensifying the atmosphere as though the heavens themselves were leaning nearer, eager to absorb their offerings. Each member of the gathering felt the anticipation seep into their bones, electrifying their spirits. "Let's invite his presence," whispered the woman at the center, her eyes bright like a flame. With each passing heartbeat, the golden mist glowed brighter, illuminating the faces around her with warmth. "He is here, ready to touch our lives. Focus your heart, open your spirit, let the sacred wash over you." Mary's heart surged as she focused deeply. She envisioned each worry as a leaf, shedding from her being, floating away into the mist. With a deep breath, she sent up a silent prayer, asking for clarity and guidance, for the understanding she longed for. What was this divine purpose she felt echoing in her chest? As they continued, David had closed his eyes, locked in with the vision of the fruit-bearing tree. "What if we are the seeds?" he pondered, eyes still closed. "What if we nurture each other, pouring love, faith, and prayer into one another?" His words felt like a soft echo, but the depth reverberated through the hearts listening. "Yes!" someone exclaimed, igniting a rippling wave of excitement among them. "We are seeds, ready to bloom." The energy began to shift again, building like the swell of an ocean tide. The woman smiled knowingly. "Each of you has a part to play in this beautiful tapestry. What you give, what you share, becomes a reflection of what he has for you." An immediate desire to share thrummed through Mary. "I feel the Lord is saying that our struggles are not in vain," she murmured. "Each wound, each tear is part of his healing story in us." Her heart raced as she spoke. There was power in what she shared. Tears flowed freely as others nodded in agreement. Vulnerability became a bouquet of sincerity. One by one they poured forth their burdens and stories. The man who battled isolation, the woman crying out for healing, the child lifting her voice in praise. In their openness, the burdens lifted, replaced by the sweet fragrance of hope. Then it happened. The mist surged high, sparkling like stars, weaving through branches and embracing everyone present. Mary felt warmth flood her body, as if the Holy Spirit was sewing together their hearts, binding them with divine love. Suddenly, a stillness fell. "Hold on to this moment of connection," the woman said softly. "God has something in store, but we are to listen. Be attuned to the whispers of the Holy Spirit." Everyone clasped their hands tighter, eyes squeezed shut in fervent prayer. Each breath seemed to stretch time, every word a golden note in a symphony of faith. As they prayed, Mary's heart beat in synchrony with the stillness. What was brewing beneath the surface? A profound silence enveloped them, lifting the mundane from their minds and hearts. It was as if in that drawn-out pause they could feel the breath of God, resonating through eternity, illuminating their lives. The power of possibility radiated. What if they were indeed called to a unique purpose? Just then, a gentle breeze swept over the group. With bated breath, they opened their eyes to see the mist swirl upward, revealing a shimmering ray of light piercing through the branches above. Was it a sign? Could it be the answer that had been whispering through their prayers? What revelation awaited them beyond this moment of divine intimacy? What was the next step in their sacred journey? As anticipation swelled once more, they braced themselves for the miraculous unfolding ahead. As the shimmering light cascaded down, circling the group like a heavenly embrace, a palpable sense of awe deepened in the gathering. Mary felt her heart flutter, excitement mingling with uncertainty. What awaited them just beyond the veil of the ordinary? The woman at the center raised her arms, ushering their attention to the golden mist hovering above. "Do you feel it?" she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper, yet ringing with an undeniable resonance. "This is the breath of God, stirring awake the seeds within us. Prepare yourselves to receive what he has promised." A hush reigned supreme, as if time itself paused in anticipation. Mary closed her eyes once more, taking in the warmth that enveloped her. A distant memory of her grandmother's laughter filled her thoughts, a reminder of the enduring strength found in faith, a faith that had weathered storms and still danced with joy in the rain. Suddenly, David spoke up again, drawing everyone's gaze. "I feel it stirring, a call to walk boldly into our purpose. What if we are not just waiting for answers, but are meant to be the answers in the world around us?" His words sparked a flicker of recognition in Mary's heart. Yes, they weren't meant to sit still, but to radiate the love and healing they had so desperately sought. They were meant to be a living testimony of God's grace. One by one, like fiery embers catching life, each person began to speak, sharing a word, a vision, or a simple prayer. The connections deepened, and each voice blended into a rich tapestry of faith. "I am a vessel of light," another exclaimed. Tears of joy began to flow, washing away remnants of doubt and fear. As they shared their visions of healing and hope, the atmosphere thickened, bursting with divine potential. "I see chains breaking," someone shouted, sending waves of affirmation through the circle. Mary felt the warmth of the Holy Spirit wrap around her, infusing her with strength. She could almost hear the divine whispers translating into clarity as she saw each burden lifted, a cascade of leaves dancing on the wind. Then, with courage anew, she lifted her voice. "And in 3 days we shall see the fulfillment of these promises. God's light is breaking through the shadows of our worries." The air crackled with the power of her proclamation. A rush of agreement ignited amongst them, waves of faith rippling outward. "Yes, yes, yes," they echoed, the sound vibrating through the stillness, filling the air with electricity. In that moment, doubt had no hold, only faith remained. Yet just as enthusiasm reached a crescendo, a sudden cool breeze swept through the misty air, as if to caution them. A silence fell once more. "Let us be still," the woman urged, the golden atmosphere shifting slightly as though charging with greater energy. "We must understand that answers may not always come as we expect. Are we truly ready to receive them?" Her words hung in the air, sowing seeds of thought. With furrowed brows and pondering hearts, they felt the weight of what their journey might entail. In the stillness, the group held their breath. They had ventured deep into hope, but the unfolding of their divine journey was still shrouded in mystery. What transformations awaited them? What challenges might their newfound purpose bring? The golden light shimmered above, pulsating like a beacon of promise, as each heart thumped in unison, tension and hope intertwined, weaving the threads of focused prayer. Would they emerge renewed? What miracles were about to sprout forth from their faith? The sacred moment hung delicately in the air, thick with possibility. Would they hear the answers they sought? Would their journey lead them towards a deeper intimacy with the divine? Or would it take unexpected turns they could never foresee? The gathering tightened, ready to witness. A new day dawned, and the echoes of God's call lingered like a sweet promise hanging in the air. What awaited them on this miraculous morning? They braced themselves to discover the unfolding of divine peace and prophetic answers. As the lingering vibration of their shouts settled into a serene silence, the night air around the gathering grew heavier with anticipation. Each heart was in rhythm, a steady echo of faith dancing amid uncertainty. Mary felt a stirring within her, a knowing that they stood on the verge of something pivotal. Her mind was filled with images of open doors, paths untraveled. Then the woman at the center, her eyes bright like stars, began to speak again. Many times we face the unknown with trepidation, forgetting that our God is a God of surprises. Are we prepared to embrace His will, even when it looks different than our dreams? Her words were a gentle reminder to let go, to surrender dreams that may need divine reimagining. David, emboldened by the atmosphere, ignited the sacred charge. We must release control and trust that God's plan is greater than our expectations. If we are to be the answers, we must believe in the strength of the unseen. His voice rose, infectious energy weaving its way through the group. Mary leaned into his words. Yes, for every challenge we face is an invitation for growth, and every unanswered prayer can lead to miraculous revelations. With renewed fervor, they began to join in prayer, their voices rising like incense to heaven. Each spoke from their heart, pouring out requests and hopes into the golden mist that wrapped around them. One after another, words of healing, peace, and restoration filled the space, lifting them higher into the throne room of God. From the corners of her soul, Mary called forth the intentions for their lives. Lord, knead us like clay in your hands, shape us for your purpose. She was filled with an inexplicable joy at that moment, and the very act of speaking their desires brought a unity that strengthened them all. An undercurrent of joy rippled through the gathering. They were beginning to feel His presence deepen. As prayers flowed, the golden mist seemed to swirl faster, becoming more vibrant, a reflection of their collective faith. The woman smiled, glancing approvingly at her gathered children. The time for waiting has passed. The foundations of our destinies are being laid right now. Are you prepared for the shifts and movements to come? Yes, was the resounding chorus, befitting their anticipatory hearts. Suddenly, a faint glow radiated from within the mist. It shimmered like the dawn breaking upon a new day. Mary felt warmth wash over her, a sign that divine spirits were listening. She extended her hands forward, embracing the light, eager to receive whatever was being imparted. Let us be open to His voice, the woman encouraged, walking slowly around the circle. For in this sacred moment, we must prepare to hear the revelations meant for each of us. You may each receive a word, an image, or a burden to carry. This is your divine moment. As she walked among them, those seated began to quiet themselves, eyes closed again, stirring breaths reflecting their open hearts. One person next to Mary gasped softly, and another's brow furrowed, already processing what was unfolding. Mary could sense the charged anticipation surrounding them, electric yet peaceful. Her heart raced with both excitement and fear. What might be revealed when the revelations poured forth from the very throne of grace? A soft breeze rushed through the gathering, lifting the golden mist as if it were alive, carrying whispers of promise and hope. Stay with Him, Mary thought, grasping tightly to the moment. With every passing second, they surrendered deeper into longing, waiting with bated breath for the moment of clarity, the unveiling of their divine destinies, to which each bearing witness now felt irrevocably tied. So many questions began swirling in her mind. Could they really become the vessels of God's answers? How would they bear the weight of the transformation ahead? Their spirits ignited with hope, but was it enough? In the depths of silence, the group yearned not for mere understanding, but for the kind of faith that stirs mountains. What could be waiting just beyond the horizon of their prayers? As the golden mist swirled around them, a palpable sense of expectation thickened the air. Mary stood, her heart racing as she felt the breeze pick up, tinged with divine energy. The moment was charged, an electric promise of revelation set against the backdrop of stillness. Then with a gentle certainty, the woman at the center raised her hands high, her voice resonating with authority. Let us prepare to receive what God has for us. Each heart here is a vessel ready to be filled, filled with vision, filled with purpose. Can you feel his presence? Because he is here. A collective breath was held, and the weight of their hope sent ripples through the group. Encouraged by the woman's guidance, each member took a moment to close their eyes, breathing deeply, inhaling the sacred atmosphere enveloping them. Suddenly, like a wave crashing gently upon the shore, a vision washed over Mary, a tree brimming with fruit, vibrant and heavy with life. She saw the branches stretching wide, welcoming weary travelers, offering hope to those who sought sanctuary. This wasn't just a tree, it was a metaphor for their journey, a shared mission forged in faith and love. Are we not meant to produce fruit? Mary whispered, filled with a certainty that radiated beyond the confines of her heart. We are not merely receivers of blessings. We are called to be givers. Each soul gathered felt it, a stirring warmth blooming in their hearts. Around her, David's voice broke through the murmur of prayer, and in giving we find healing. As we strengthen one another, we ourselves become instruments of his grace. There was a resonance in his declaration, a truth that throbbed through the veins of the gathering. Let us offer our hands to the world, said another voice, steady and determined. We will touch lives. We will share our stories of God's goodness. The enthusiasm sparked a wildfire as one by one they began to rise, their spirits ignited and ready for action. The radiant woman smiled knowingly, watching her beloved gathering awaken to their purpose. Now, she said with conviction, let us ask God to reveal the steps we need to take. In his light, we will find clarity. In unison, they raised their hands to the heavens, palms open, ready to receive whatever instruction awaited them. Mary closed her eyes and focused on her breathing, preparing to embrace the divine revelation. And then it happened. The golden mist brightened, enveloping them in brilliant light, pulsating as if alive. Mary felt her heart quickening, fueled by the energy swirling around them. A soft voice, gentle yet authoritative, filled her soul, echoing the promise of the sacred. You are loved, you are chosen. Each step you take is towards a future that holds more light than you can imagine. Suddenly, clarity washed over her, a vision of her village and all those around her who were waiting for hope. She envisioned children playing, laughter filling the air, healing extending not just to David, but to every soul who dared to hope. With excitement, she shared her revelation with the gathering, her voice unwavering. 12 families, 12 people will feel his touch as we step out in faith. Each of us is to reach out to one who needs encouragement. Together, we'll build a tree of hope, cradling souls searching for peace. Gasps of realization spread through the crowd, and eyes sparkled with vibrant determination. One by one, they embraced the vision, not just as a task, but as a loving call to arms. Let's write letters to the lonely, visit the sick, share meals with the hungry, someone exclaimed, capturing the momentum. We are meant to reflect his love, to act in the name of healing. With fervor, they began to gather their ideas, crafting a plan woven with their collective hope. Every heartbeat echoed the essence of their unity, a chorus singing praises to the mission that was unfolding before them. As the sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and soft lavender, Mary looked around her, her heart swelling with joy and fulfillment. This is what we sought, she proclaimed. This is the beginning of our story, a legacy we will create together, one of love, restoration, and miracles. The congregation erupted into applause, tears mingling with laughter, gratitude flowing like an unending river. In that sacred moment, they recognized their purpose and the profound beauty of their shared journey. With the glow of the golden mist still warm upon their faces, they stood united, ready, willing, and fully embraced by the divine. This was their moment of transformation, the start of a new chapter bound in faith. As they departed, a new light flickered in the hearts of everyone present, a light that wouldn't dim with time, but would instead illuminate the paths of many. This wasn't just a tale of faith. This was a testament of love in action, woven through hope and mingled with the whispers of God. And thus their journey began, marked by divine peace and prophetic answers, forever transforming their lives and the lives of those around them. Now, dear friends, don't let this powerful moment fade into memory. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure this message of hope reaches those who need it most. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Share your own stories of transformation and divine encounters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. True servants of God understand the importance of supporting this mission. Let's spread this message far and wide.